So, Charlie, Vladimir Putin called the attack on the Crimean bridge an act of terrorism, and obviously he decided to meet terrorism with terrorism. Kyiv was sort of on the rebound. I can imagine the fear that these people are living under right now. But does any of that change the trajectory of the war? Ukraine has been making some pretty significant gains.
Anne-Marie, on the battlefield, absolutely not. We've been to the battlefield over the past couple of days in Kherson. A couple of days ago, we were in eastern Ukraine, in the Donbass region, and Ukrainian forces are gaining territory. The Russian front line is pulling back. Psychologically, it will have an impact because, as you said, there are parts of this country that you really wouldn't even realize that the country is at war. Places like Lviv, even Kyiv for that matter, it hasn't been hit for a number of months, and the shops are open. People are going back to work. I mean, here in Kyiv, there's traffic going. There are people going to shops and to restaurants. So you feel that you're outside of the conflict that's taking place. Now, towards the front line, it's a much different story. There, it's constant fighting in places like Bakhmut. So it does change things psychologically. It makes things more difficult for President Zelensky because it has dragged ordinary civilians in areas that have been relatively untouched in the past couple months into this conflict. So it's a harder sell for him, and it's just a terrifying reminder that this entire country is at war with Russia, and the entire country is within reach.
Stark reminder, indeed, especially for so many of those families who have been impacted. Charlie, I also wanted to ask you, Belarus has just recently announced a new military alliance with Russia. How does that change the calculus going forward? How does that change the landscape we're looking at here?
Well, it's concerning for a number of reasons. First of all, there are Belarusian troops that may be involved. But more, it's the proximity of where Belarus is to the capital, Kyiv. If you remember back in February when Russian troops advanced, they advanced from that region. The Russian border is far from the capital. That's along the Belarusian border. So it gives them another launch pad, and it raises serious questions as to whether there will be another try for the capital, or whether that's going to extend another front line. Ukrainian forces are doing well, but they are stretched thin. They're doing well with American-supplied weapons, particularly the HIMARS, local commanders tell us, and they've made advances in the east and in the south. If Belarus enters this in any meaningful way, in terms of the military assets they have, in terms of supplying the landmass itself from which to launch attacks, it puts Kyiv in the crosshairs. And that opens up a whole new set of problems for President Zelensky and for military planners here. We don't know yet whether this is just a symbol, whether this is just a sort of unity between Belarus and Russia. It's in direct reaction to what happened on the bridge in Crimea. These are conversations that have been taking place over the past 48 hours or so since that attack. So it's just another escalation, and it is a dramatic escalation. How significant it's going to be in military terms, we'll have to see.
All right, Charlie, thank you very much.
Thank you.